Hi, everyone. I'm Charlene Shirk, and welcome to Digital Champions, where we speak to some of the most innovative thinkers in the digital space. And joining us today from Maitland, Florida, is Isar Meitis with Be the Stage. Isar, thanks so much for joining us today on Digital Champions.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited about this.
Oh, I am too. Let's talk about it. I love a stage. So talk to me about Be the Stage.
Awesome. So, if you look at, we're talking marketing. If you look about marketing in the past few years, it's been a lot of trends that are trying to shift away from, let's call it the old school way of digital marketing, of chasing leads and MQLs and so on. And there's been multiple different ways to get away from that. You hear a lot about demand gen, you hear a lot about ABM, you hear a lot about podcasting, you hear a lot about communities. So all these different things that are really built around creating relationships. And the question that everybody asks is, okay, how do you execute on that? How do you really move away from just chasing leads all the time? And by creating a weekly online talk show, you can really get ticks in the boxes of all these different strategies. So between having a podcast, building relationship, creating a community, and doing ABM, meaning talking specifically to the people you want to talk to on the topics you want to talk to them about, and you can achieve all of that in 1 hour a week that gets repurposed across many, many different channels. So really the stage play allows you to really move away from traditional, I need 1,000 leads to get 4 clients, to I'm going to talk to these 4 clients in a meaningful way, build relationships, grow a community, and grow sales, reduce customer service, and so on. So that's what we do.
Yeah, and you hit it. Everybody right now is talking about community, kind of meeting your customers where they are. So let's break this down, though. How does having a weekly talk show end in revenue? I think that's what everybody wants to know. How do I get the ROI out of that effort?
So it's an awesome question. And I'll start with the end in mind, right? So one of our clients happens to be in Jacksonville, Florida, where you are, and you might have heard of them. They're called JWB. They're a big real estate company, and they started implementing this strategy with us 2 years ago, and they've generated over $50 million with it in the last 2 years. And so it leads to revenue. So I'm just starting with the end in mind. How does it lead to revenue? It's very, very simple. It's if you can share time with your prospects and clients, build a true relationship with them because they keep on coming every week because you keep providing them value, then they know everything about your company. They understand what your differentiation is and how you can help them solve whatever problem that you're solving. And then once they have that problem, they would come to you. And so what happens is by continuously educating and providing value to the right people, which takes strategy, right? It's not just, I'm going to have a talk show. It's a talk show that has very specific topics with very specific audience to address very specific needs. But the goal is to provide value and education continuously. So then these people want to do business with you versus you having to chase them. So that's why I said it's really an ABM demand gen kind of play more than anything else, but it's built around human relationships.
So we've heard a lot about influencers. So say if you don't have a company, you're not representing a company, you are a person, solopreneur, if you will, and you want to use that platform to make sales for the companies who may be advertising or you're sponsoring or you're talking about. Can you talk about a little bit of that shift and how you do that approach?
So I think the difference in influencer marketing is the influencers develop their audience and then they can promote companies who are looking to address that audience, and that play would still work. So there are multiple examples, and there's also a great book that just came out. So Dave Gerhardt, if you're listening and you don't know who he is and you're into marketing, start following Dave Gerhardt. But Dave, really smart guy, and he just came up with a book called The Founder Brand. And what he's basically saying is that if the founder has a strong brand, he can then sell anything. So it's basically the same play, right? Then you can sell your stuff, or since you already have a community and people who follow you and trust you and believe in what you say, you can then sell other people's stuff that is relevant and provide value to your audience.
To your particular demographic. And then,
Correct.
Isar, talk to me a little bit about, I know it's sexy to say 1 hour a week, but we all know who are in the, the broadcast business, the television, even the podcast. that 1 hour is all you see, but there's a lot of work that goes into that 1 hour. So break it down a little bit briefly, if you could. Just what is the expectation? If people say, I want to do this, kind of what should they be prepared for? What's the real expectation of the commitment of time and effort and energy that goes into that 1 hour?
60 hours a week. No, I'm kidding. I'm just,
No, you're probably right.
No. So here's the thing. We, first of all, with us, we do this as a service for our clients, right? So it's a done for you. So their commitment is about 2.5 hours a week, where 1 hour a week we join their marketing team, half an hour a week we do a prep for the coming show, and 1 hour a week of the show. So that's when you have somebody doing all the heavy lifting, you don't really care about it. We also teach that in a boot camp. We teach people how to do everything that we do. So then we really break it down. So then what you really need to know is you need to know how to do the research to find the clients. You need to set up time in advance to set the strategy. That's a few weeks of 1 hour every day just to think and figure out the strategy. But then once you have the strategy, it's the weekly operation is research potential new guests for the show that are aligned with the strategy that you've defined, defining the topics you want to talk to them about based on the strategy you defined, onboarding those guests. So bringing them to speed on what the show is going to be about, tech-wise, like the stuff you did with me, right? This is what we're going to talk about. Your camera looks okay. Your lighting is fine. So things like that. So the onboarding part of it. Then there's the show itself, which requires some tech setup, some inviting people, because it's a live show. You want to have an audience. So there's setting up invitations on social, on email, and so on, the actual show. And then there's the repurposing of the content, right? So that 1 hour of a show becomes a podcast, becomes a YouTube channel, becomes multiple short snippets for social media, either as quote cards or images or just text that is driven from the show, and obviously a lot of video. And then there's the follow-up with those people that has been on the show in the format of, here's the amazing content that I've created for you. Let's chat again, which again is another relationship building thing. So yes, there's a full cycle of things that are happening for the show to be productive, including the strategy while the show is how you connect with the audience, how you're really building, planting the seeds for that community where people are starting to become friends and know each other and have private jokes and rituals and so on. It's stuff that we teach how to do or do it ourselves for our clients. So yes, there's a lot of process happening behind the scenes, but the results, like I said, are incredible. So it's worth the effort. And it really takes away a lot of the efforts you're doing right now in marketing. If you want, I can dive into that as well, like what that takes away.
Well, we've actually run out of time, so here's an official invitation for you to come back on our show, and then we can talk about all of that. We can also talk about, when you're talking about what, having a strong brand, how to build that, how to target your demographic. There's so much to talk about, because you're right. I think people are focused a lot on podcasts, but I think these types of informational, educational, and how they call it, infotainment now, from being, 25, God, I'm going to date myself, 30 years in television. Now you can bring those skill sets and that strategy to online. So Isar, we can't thank you enough for being on the show, and really consider this an open invitation to come on back, because I think you offer a lot for our viewers and our listeners, and we really appreciate you taking the time today to be on Digital Champions.
Thank you so much.
And now, if you'd like to learn more about what they're doing over there and Be the Stage, I think you at least want to head to their website and check them out. But get to their website by first going to dailyadbrief.com. Well, I'm your host, Charlene Shirk. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Digital Champions, and we look forward to learning something new with you next time.